Unemployment remains a concern in our country, and young people are the most affected. Now, as the economy evolves, many people are looking for various ways to make a living. One organization, Influencer School, is helping young people turn their passions into a career. To hear and understand more about this, we are now joined by the founder, Gill Attwood. Gill, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us here on Newsnight to expand on this very interesting conversation, because influencer marketing is still fairly new in South Africa, although it has developed quite quickly over the last couple of years. Let's start here and just define really what an influencer is and what the difference between an influencer and a content creator is.
Hi, thanks, Abigail. Thanks for letting me speak about this really important topic. As an influencer and a content creator, I mean, it all comes under the same banner of influencer marketing, but a content creator would be somebody who creates content on social media, and an influencer would be somebody that is well known for what they do. I think the other way that you differentiate is really because a content creator's content will be inspirational, it'll be educational, entertaining, whereas actual influencer will be, their life will be aspirational. So that's how I would define the difference.
Sure. And like I mentioned in the intro, unemployment is a huge and ongoing issue in South Africa. And a large percentage of the people affected by unemployment in South Africa is young people. It is the youth. And on the other hand, you have young influencers who are making extreme amounts of money on social media platforms. Just talk to us about the opportunity there, and also a little bit about the influencer economy.
So, yes, the kids that are getting it right are making quite substantial amounts of money. But the problem is that they're making this money and they're not really knowing the business behind the money making. So that's really what Influencer School is all about, is to help these kids, actually guide them and sort them out from a business point of view, and help them with things like tax and contracts and what to charge and what are their rights and that kind of stuff, so that they don't get taken for a ride and they don't get taken advantage of. You say unemployment, yes, it's rife at the moment, and I think being an entrepreneur is on the top of everyone's list, but that's the same thing as saying that I want to be an influencer. You've got to be an entrepreneur, you've got to start a business in something. And with being able to self-publish and self-produce and self-broadcast and sell whatever you have, whether it's a service or if it's your photography or it's a jewelry making company, that you actually have these outlets and technical platforms that you can use to sell and market yourself. And then, of course, the e-commerce plugins that go into these platforms that give you an opportunity to actually make a transaction online and fulfill that transaction online. That is what we call the creator economy. So you'll have the creators, you'll have the tech that plugs into it, and you'll have the consumer.
So, Joel, someone who's watching and who could potentially, become someone who joins this industry and makes money and a career from it, how do they start, and what sort of tools will Influencer School then give them to be able to tackle these issues and create a career ultimately?
So with Influencer School, the reason why I started is that I manage a lot of high-profile celebrities. And I get a lot of people coming to me and asking me if I will manage or agent for them. And I just don't have the capacity. So the reason why I started Influencer School is so that I can equip these kids who are growing an audience, growing a community, gaining traction and engagement on their posts. I can actually help them manage themselves. And what's happened as well is a lot of the influencers and celebrities that I manage are sending people to my school so that they can learn how to manage them. So it's a skills deficit that we have in the country that I feel is a massive gap for young people to get into, especially if they're interested in social media marketing, if they're into broadcast and entertainment and that kind of situation. So you don't actually have to be a star to be in the industry. You can be a manager.
So, Jill, with regards to your school, how does it work? Are there courses that are being offered? Is there fees that people need to pay? And once courses have been completed, what sort of skills are these individuals then equipped with?
So Influencer School is really just the name of the online course that I first started with, and it's grown out into two other projects, which is teaching agencies and brands how to engage influencers properly with the best practices, and then a keynote talk that I do to schools and teachers and parents about allowing your children to not sort of curtail themselves as much. If they want to play a game and be a gamer, try understand a little bit more about what the world is that your child is entering into and the opportunities within that world, that they can actually become really good and become content creators and make a living from their passion. So those are the three products. I have Influencer School, which is really just teaching influencers and people who are on social media already, who have an audience, teaching them how to manage their business. It would be from anything from, like I said, costing your posts, how to reach out to brands, who actually hires influencers. I mean, we all know, okay, well, I've got this great idea. I'd like to have Coke as a sponsor, but where do you start? Who do you approach? Who's the person that you speak to? So it's all the back end of the industry and of the business that I've been part of for the last 20 years. So they'll come up with a really good idea and knowledge of how to monetize their already existing and growing audience.
And then, Gill, what type of individual would be ideal to join this sort of program? Does it need to be someone who's already in the influencer scene, someone who has a certain amount of followers, or can someone who's completely starting afresh also get involved?
Yeah, I usually say it's preferential and most beneficial to the people who have already started to grow and get an interest and have brands who are looking at working with them, but they don't know how to engage further and they don't know how to take the next step and how to charge. And most of the time, the people that come to me have got an active brief on their desk and they're panicking and they need guidance. So Influencer School will suit best a person who also is also questioning whether this is something that they actually want to do or want to get into, because being an influencer is actually a full-time job. I think it's the most underrated job in the world. Content creation is extremely hard. You need Olympic-style dedication to keep an audience engaged and entertained all the time. So it's not for everybody. And I think that Influencer School helps a lot of people define what they really want from their social media page, whether they want to keep it just a hobby or whether they really have what it takes to make a go of it.
Definitely. Gill, you touched on something interesting a short while ago, and you talked about resistance of some parents. It can be something challenging for parents to understand because social media can be a dangerous place, and possibly seeing your son or daughter gaming the entire week can be a cause for concern. But I don't know if you could just vaguely give us some detail as to how much content creators or influencers can potentially earn in South Africa.
Earning potential of influencers. I did a post the other day on social media, which I basically just went into my archives and had a look at all the rate cards that I hold for influencers at the moment. And I sort of broke it down. I think like a nano influencer, which is somebody from anything from 0 to 5,000 followers, can charge about 5,000 Rand for a campaign. Going all the way up to between 10,000 to 15,000, and then you get into the mega, where I wouldn't even approach a mega influencer with less than 50,000. So I know that one of my broadcast clients charges 35,000 Rand for a tweet. And a lot of people would say, well, that's just crazy. But if you think about the fact that he's taken 20 years to build his career and to gather an audience of people who trust him, it's not that much. It comes with his personal endorsement.
Definitely. So there is good money to be made in this industry, Gill. If someone is watching and they're saying, you know what, this is me, I'm sitting at home, I'm unemployed, I do have a following on social media, how do they contact you? How do they join the school? And how do they start this journey?
I think the first thing to do is to follow me on Instagram. I'm very active on Instagram. I have two accounts. My personal account is Gill Strawberry Live, and that's where I post a lot about the behind-the-scenes campaigns that I'm working on. But Influencer School Official is the real sort of place where you can find some proper information. I put out a post every second day that has a nugget of value for influencers to learn. I give away all my information for free online. It really is right there. But I think the difference is when you come on Influencer School, we get a lot of one-on-one time where we can actually dig through your personal brand specifically.
Definitely, it's an amazing initiative, and thank you for the work that you're doing, Gill. Thank you for joining us here on Newsnight, and thank you for sharing your insights, and all the best on your ongoing endeavors. We appreciate your time and insights. That was Influencer School founder Gill Attwood.